We produce 1,500 million used tires every year in the world. If this number is broken down, every passing minute, tires of 2850 cars are damaged. This is the world's largest tire dumping graveyard in Kuwait. Here, tires of all over the world have been collected for the last 20 years. If you look at it in aerial footage, it looks like this. This graveyard, spread over thousands of acres, is so huge that it can be seen from space. But if this graveyard was in a third world or developing country, it would be understandable. What is the purpose of the Kuwait, which is considered one of the richest countries in the world, and why has Kuwait been collecting them continuously for the last 20 years? And what is the purpose of using used tires? Welcome to EcoMep videos once again. Viewers, an average car's tires run for 30 to 40,000 kilometers, and after that, these tires are of no use. They are thrown away, or we often see them lying useless on the road. Other recycled materials can be simply melted and reused, but tires are made of rubber and sulfur, so this process cannot be reversed. Secondly, recycling used tires produces dangerous gases, and this process is illegal in many countries. Even in Europe, it is illegal to keep used tires in the garbage. So now, most of the Western countries send them to Kuwait to get rid of millions of tires every year. Here in the middle of the Arabian desert, spread over 1,000 square meters, this is the Sulaibiya tire graveyard. Here, not a single layer of the tire is used, but these 50 feet deep pits are being used to dump the tires. Kuwait buys 1,000 kilograms of these used tires for just 1 dinar and stores them here. When Kuwait has been doing this for many years, it has become a graveyard, which is now seen from space. According to Kuwait government officials, there are about 7 crore tires in this entire tire graveyard. Now, Kuwait is a very rich country, so rich that a unit of currency here, that is 1 Kuwaiti dinar, is equal to $3.3. So seeing this, the world was very worried that what is the problem of Kuwait collecting these scraps? While so far Kuwait has only been collecting them, none of them have been recycled. That's why he was buying them back and forth when the Gov of Kuwait had no plan for this. Finally, an incident happened here, after which Kuwaiti officials started taking these tires seriously. It happened that from 2012 to 2020, tires used to catch fire on their own. Now, as there were hundreds of tires here, the tires were in large numbers, so the fire spread quickly, and it was difficult to control it. This was the reason why they first divided the tires into different squares so that they could be controlled in the event of a fire. But even after that, the fire did not stop. Black smoke clouds not only produced deadly gases, but also caused a lot of trouble in the nearby city of al-Jahra in the Middle East. To see the level of destruction, look at this satellite photo. This devastating fire was actually in a small square of the graveyard. So now imagine how much damage this fire would do if it spread throughout the graveyard. Due to these accidents, the international community was also under a lot of pressure from Kuwait because these harmful gases remain unfiltered in the atmosphere. Finally, in 2021, Kuwait decided to put an end to these tires. These tires were filled in containers and sent to the world for recycling. But what is the purpose of these used tires? A normal tire has 3 components: rubber, carbon, and steel wires. These tires are first melted with the help of a pyrolysis plant. The rubber melts and becomes a gas, which is cooled and used as fuel. After that, the carbon and steel wires are left behind. The carbon is removed, and the steel wires are cooled and sent to the recycling facility. There are many other ways to recycle tires. One is shredding. Tires are shredded and brought in powder form, which is used in construction to make rubber tires. A few years ago, this type of Sulaibiya tire graveyard was completely emptied in 2021, which looks like this in satellite image. But even today, 4 billion tires are dumped in different countries of the world. We talked about the graveyard of tires, but what you are seeing in this photo is not a graveyard of flowers, but it is the biggest cycle graveyard in the world. Yes, a few years ago, bike sharing was very popular in China. In 2014, proper bike sharing programs were launched in which people would rent a bike from one station and park it at an automatic dock at another station. Slowly, this service was advancing, and it became easier to locate a nearby bike with the help of a mobile application. It was easy to find out the location. People found this service very suitable, but often when bikes were needed, There was no cycle available at the nearest location. New cycles were needed to meet the market demand. This is considered the best and cheapest way to travel for the middle class. Finally, to fill this market gap, several multi-billion-dollar companies were established. Hundreds of cycle booths were built in each city, which had thousands of cycles parked. When this was at its peak, 70 bike-sharing companies operated in China. According to a 2017 survey, this market was the world's first. Estimated China had 10.6 million cycles on the road at one time. Then came a time when this business was saturated, so this business was not profitable anymore, and investors stopped investing in this business model. And this is where the decline in bike sharing in China began. Beijing's roads could support 12 million S-cycles at a time, while bike-sharing companies distributed 23 million cycles. That is double the capacity of Beijing. So now the issue of parking so many cycles was a problem. People started parking bikes on the roads, and as time passed, the cycles were piled up. In 2018, more than half of the bike-sharing companies celebrated Diwali, and their bikes were lying like orphans. Seeing this, the government started collecting them in dumping yards to clean the cities. Cycles were being brought from every street, every corner to the dumping yards, which, as we see today, presents a scene like this. In every single dumping yard, and this is what the market looks like today. There are about 2 lakh cycles in each dumping yard, and there are many such dumping yards in China which are now known as bicycle graveyard. There is still a lot of bike sharing in China, but the market is not growing like it did in 2017. I hope you will like and share this video the world.